Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Mega Life 21 Live. I am James P. Madonna, your host, and I represent the Facebook group, the International Brotherhood of Polyvons, your main headquarters for old school, drug free physical fitness. And I am here once again with my close friend and illustrious physical fitness and strength training co-host, the one and only Jeff Zambello. Jeff Zambello, how are you, sir? Welcome back.
Doing very well. A great Sunday. Everything was pure today. Start off with the morning, and then good food, great training, old school. Did a lot of circular torque training.
And strength training.
I'll use Scott Sonnen's verbiage, and I'll get a cease and desist order from his legal team. Circular strength training, but I don't like that. I like circular torque training better. Anyways, but I do not like triangular torque training.
What about testicular torque training?
Well, triangular torque training was founded with an olive branch under false pretenses.
You mean very well greased olive branch, may we say?
Yeah, with snake oil, perhaps. But I digress. But anyways, a great day. Actually watching the Patriots game on mute right now, and talking to my best friend, and gonna learn some stuff. And I'm sure everybody else will learn a thing or two.
Well,
I enjoyed the comments about about James's video last night on the cracks.
Krakatoa, yes.
On the expensive Persian meals, and the two fellows. I appreciate the two fellows who commented. I think Matt Hudner and then I forget the other fellow's name there. And that's good. We need some interaction here.
Well,
so I'm glad to see everybody's contributing.
Well, I did reply to the second person. Was obviously much more intelligent than Pudner from the United Kingdom. He gave a lot of input, but I answered him in regards to if you're running a business that is making Indian clubs and Persian meals out of wood, and you're charging a premium price to your customers, it is your responsibility to make sure that your source of wood is of optimal value, optimal quality. So you have to make sure your wood is properly seasoned, and kiln dried before charging your customers like $400 for a pair of 6-pound clubs. You know, that's a premium price. That's almost what Christian Darce charges for his 20-pound Persian meals. So why? Because someone's signature happens to be on it, and this guy from the United Kingdom was hero worshiping his fellow countryman. You know? So, you're talking about...
yeah, but the thing, I guess what I didn't like was, I appreciate the contribution, but it had no sustenance, and it was like, you took the time out to make people aware, but all you got was a lazy reply. So what about the cracks? Well, so what about anything? If I buy an expensive Texas bar exclusively for deadlifting, then I expect it to perform. I expect it to whip. If I buy expensive pair of Reebok sneakers or athletic shoes, as the yuppies want to call them, they're really sneakers. I expect both shoes to be worth the price. So without beating a dead horse here, we shouldn't discourage one another from making constructive criticism comments to help each other and to raise awareness.
Yeah. Well, look at my sister. She bought a new Honda Accord. What if she took the car on her very first drive, and all of a sudden the computer system in the new Honda Accord started acting crazy and defective? Doesn't she have the right to take it back to the dealership and say, "Hey, what's going on? I bought a car with a great reputation for quality and something is wrong with it." I'm not saying this happened, because Hondas are great cars. But, it's like, if you're going to charge a premium price, Jeff Zambello, it's your responsibility as a business owner to make sure that the quality control and the source of your materials are optimum before you go turn around charging $400, $500 for these exercise clubs.
Yep. Anyways, the good news is that we do use these training tools. Some people will buy or get gifted very expensive Shenna boards or other training implements, and they just end up collecting dust on the bookshelf because they look so glossy and beautiful. Well, I'd rather have a scuffed up piece of equipment where one has had a lot of good memories and a lot of good results and benefits from using it. Anyways, that's just, I'd rather see a book, dog-eared. Oh, don't, like, librarians will say, don't dog-ear the pages of a book. Well, books are meant to be read, and I'd rather see cracked bindings on books. Anyways,
well, look at those big, tall wooden jories in the Akaras of India. They're all beat up looking because they're used by many people quite often. They're used.
Right.
It's like, are you going to brag that somebody gifted you a king's scepter mace that is probably much more beautiful than it is heavy, and then you're going to brag that somebody gave it to you, and then it's going to collect dust, and the same thing goes with a Shenna board, and because the person has only one objective, it is not caring about his or her students. They're progressing in physical fitness. It's not about educating his or her students about safe training and effective training. It is about making money only.
Yeah, that's a shameful thing. I'm trying to recall something that I heard this morning in the message, but it'll come to me a little later on because I wanted to discuss it. I learned something about counterfeit.
Does it have to do with manufacturing of the equipment, or does it have to do with the teaching?
The teaching.
And
making a mockery. Okay, I know what it was. I don't want to get too religious here, but I heard a message this morning, and it was about how we should, receive counsel from truth. Anyways, I guess I won't get into it.
Well, when a pastor, I know what you mean. It's like, and I'll make a comparison to all of these fluff and filler, phony baloney physical fitness seminars, and I'll make a connection to a church. Let's say a church has a pastor that is an ordained minister, and he might have a certification or a diploma. And let's say this pastor is giving a watered down or or inaccurate message to his congregation, the parishioners. He is not talking
He's making a
scripture.
mockery.
He's not talking scripture. He is not giving accurate biblical information to his congregation, and he's collecting donations every week, and he is teaching the wrong message. Well, doesn't it sound a little similar to someone charging $1,000 a person for a fitness seminar?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the context of it. So, anyways, there was this picture revealed that had the colors of the rainbow on it, and so we were asked, "Well, what does this mean?" And I spoke up and I said, "Well, those colors represent the Noahic covenant. After the ground dried or the earth dried after the episode of Noah's Ark, God made a covenant saying that He'll never do that again. And every time we make a covenant, a contract, an agreement, a lifelong agreement, not temporary, a lifelong, it is sealed. So it was sealed by God with the rainbow. And if I make a business covenant with someone, it is usually sealed, with a dinner or some sort of agreement, and it doesn't change. But other people might use these images or these covenants and make them false. So I'll just leave it there. It was it was very, very deep.
Yeah. Well, the covenant...
It made me think about all the mockery and the disingenuousness to the ancients. And
what about the people who are paying their hard-earned money to attend the seminar, and they're being spoken about in a negative manner behind their backs? That also. Their disrespect.
Yeah, well, that'll all come out, and
disrespect.
Things that are hidden and lies that are told, it always gets discovered, and but it won't last.
No,
it'll be short-lived.
It has a shelf life.
It has a shelf life, just like the Shenna-board, the pretty glossy Shenna-board that's collecting dust on the bookshelf that might have a little bit of lemon pledge on it, but no scuff marks because it's never used.
That's true, because it's all ostentatious. It's all for show. It's
idolatry. Just you got to use the stuff. Yeah. Don't worship it.
Well, the love of money.
And we don't hero worship people either.
The love of money.
And I think one of the fellows last night. And now I'm starting to get a little irate. I'll try to remain calm. But one of the comments last night was perhaps in defense of a certain someone who had his name maybe on the meal, and could have been a former student, a former professor, a former neighbor. And again, there's an underlying. If someone's taken the time to criticize your message, which was not a rant, well, what are they trying to say? So.
Well, my message.
Jeez, Jeez, like that's all you got to say.
Jeez, he could be just a fellow countryman that is a nationalist and just wants to defend a fellow United Kingdom.
That's fine, but offer something.
Yeah, I mean, my video.
I have nothing against the person, so don't get defensive.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a bald man, or criticize my fat stomach, or whatever. If you're going to say something, say it with substance.
Well, it makes sense. Have show some intelligence, some knowledge.
Or else he'll get mad. If he gets mad, then, well, whatever. I guess I got a scratch in the middle of my forehead.
I was very...
itch in the middle of my forehead that needs to get scratched.
I was very calm.
Get mad. Right.
I was very calm when I made the video, and I just gave facts. That's all I did, and
But that second fellow, he had a great response.
well,
I
yeah,
learned something.
that was an educated, positive, constructive response, and
Oh, James, can I ask you a question? Are there
yeah.
any clap-on, clap-offs? Any cowards out there who just check in a little bit to see if the ears are turning red, or whatever?
Well, not when we go live on YouTube, but when we go live on Facebook, it's always the same two individuals that check in on us in a nosy way.
Yeah.
But they don't. They clap on, clap off. They don't say anything. They just see if they're
Wink, wink, nod, nod. There's an olive branch.
They see
a triangular
they're
olive branch.
They're wonderful.
In the bridge that was never going to be crossed.
They want to see if their wonderful, precious, high exalted name is being tarnished or besmirched, or heaven forbid.
But they really hate each other's guts. That's the funny thing, Jake.
Heaven forbid.
What hypocrites! But I guess the color of green on a dollar bill is much stronger.
Yeah. Heaven forbid that a person who is a carnival...
Money usurps hatred.
A carnival...
But these three people really do hate each other's guts, which is, I find, so funny. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah, I mean, heaven forbid that a person with a lack of integrity, who is a carnival snake oil charlatan huckster, is...
Infomercial pitchman.
An infomercial pitchman is being exposed by someone who is righteous, that someone who is speaking the truth. Heaven forbid the forces of evil should be exposed in the world. And in this case, the exercise industry, whether it be the shake weight where somebody's jerking off, or whether it be Body by Jake, who claims to be, that Jewish guy who claims to be the trainer of the stars. Meanwhile, I never heard of him. It could be anybody. It could be a celebrity selling...
Anybody. Anybody with an expensive web designer, or, let me see, they might have a square jaw, but no muscles on them whatsoever, no credibility. Maybe they were, they posed on a couple of magazine covers, wore a Rolex watch in a commercial or something, but now all of a sudden they're experts. Geez, that's the way of the world. I fell into that trap, and thank goodness.
Did you know that speaking of infomercials, did you know that George Foreman kept on blowing off the Salton Company about the George Foreman grill? He didn't want to get involved in that. George Foreman is a minister, is an ordained minister today in Houston, Texas, and Mr. T is a minister in Chicago. But George Foreman kept on blowing him off. He didn't want to be bothered with that. His daughter's the one that kept nagging him and talked him into it. So the point is, signature. You see where I'm going with this? His signature was on the device. I bought the device eventually when it hit the stores and the price came down. Guess what? The device eventually burned out on me. I threw it in the garbage. But George, he has a lot of kids to support, and he's got a ministry. God bless him. But you know what? His signature was on it, but it was the Salton Company, who, by the way, stole my idea for the automatic 1-quart yogurt maker that I gave them, and they thanked me personally, but they never gave me credit when they came out with it, when it hit the market. They never said thank you in an email, nothing. They stole my idea, and that's the company that made the grill. But what I'm trying to say is, someone famous who was established had their signature on the product. So what I'm trying to say is, if a $400 6-pound a piece pair of wooden clubs has someone's signature on it, the person who owns the signature should contact the manufacturer and say, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking hillbilly? What are you doing? The damn clubs are cracking. You're not using properly seasoned wood. You're a furniture maker. You're supposed to know better. I would say that's my signature on your clubs. All right. I didn't lie in the video. I showed a close-up of two, not one, but two cracks. Okay. And, okay, you know, the other person just said.
But everything's hush, hush, nod, nod, wink, wink.
Right. And it's
nothing to see here, folks. Move along.
Right. Don't pay attention to that man behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz. And then you have people charging now $1,000 a person for lots of white rice in the burrito, filler and fluff. Now,
200 reps.
When we first started exposing a certain famous someone, well, famous, you know, famous someone that gives seminars that wants a lot of money now. The person made a comment on the International Brotherhood of Polybonds and says, "How would you like prison?" And I said I ignored it. What I should have said was, "Go for it, buddy. Go for it. Try to put me in prison for telling the truth." There's certainly someone mentioned, how would you like prison?
A judge would throw that out because nobody's heard of this foolishness.
How would you like prison, James?
Nobody has heard of this foolishness that they're teaching. It's only in our little circle. A judge would be like, what? You're wasting the taxpayers' money on what?
No, the average person... The average person who works out in the United States and in the world, throughout the world, still has not heard of circular training, Persian meals, gatas, mace, Indian clubs. They don't know it. We're a very small flock, and people within our flock are fucking each other in the ass with no lubrication.
They're making olive branches even though they hate their guts. That's so funny. I'm just enjoying this discussion so much in all these discussions because there's so much lying.
It's bearing false witness against thy neighbor. It is being two-faced. It is being phony. The love of money is idolatry. Yeah. And this is where they're at.
People need to stick to the day jobs. I think a lot of times, James, in life, you know, it's like people, I'm going to write a book someday, or I'm going to do this someday, because they don't like their day jobs or their life at home or their spouses. Or there's something that, you know, they want to change, but they don't want to pay life's dues. You know, like figure skaters who train for years and years to go to the Olympic Games, or gymnasts, or tennis players, or even NFL football players. They have to leave their families if you're very good in high school and go to exclusive high school academies. So you can play with the best football players, and then you go to get a scholarship to a real university. You know, but everybody wants the Cadillac.
Yeah.
But you don't want to pay the price.
Now, if you're going
to win the race, you don't win a Boston Marathon by buying expensive, colorful, wicked, clowny sneakers. Instead of, what's wrong with the bamboo handled gata? But do we really need to have $300 ice cube bathtubs filled with ice cubes? It just goes on and on and on and on and on. But it's all in vain.
You're going to charge $1,000 a person for a seminar. At least have
But they want to be liked by the heroes.
At least have
the hero worshiping
credentials, like Kent Easton has. Credentials.
Exactly. One of the most humble guys. He's so strong and he's so built, but he doesn't brag about it. Oh, look at me, look at me. No, he goes to Home Hardware or whatever hardware store. He buys his materials and he makes his own training equipment. Oh, brother,
But do you
it's so funny.
notice?
And what do they do in India at Akaras, like the wrestlers? They don't.
No,
Anyways,
they're very.
it's all in vain.
They don't do seminars costing $600 to $1,000 in India, or
And
they
the
don't.
strongest power lifters and best kettlebell lifters in the world are Russians.
True.
And I know from talking with these guys in Russia, they don't have, a lot of these guys don't have money to buy the supplements that the Americans buy. They eat, potatoes, and they eat little amounts of meat, but how come they can always beat the Americans in powerlifting or strength sports, or the people in Bulgaria or any Eastern Bloc country?
No, they eat mom's home cooking. Basically,
yeah.
Basically, they eat
just
mom
basics,
or their wives, if their wife is not like the women in this country that don't even want to learn how to cook.
They don't get all these expensive supplements. If you're not good enough to compete at a high level because maybe you didn't have the right parents or something, maybe you are kind of wasting your time and you have unrealistic dreams. Well, there's so much to do in life. This untapped potential crap, the sugarcoating of mediocrity does not replace meritocracy or merit or elbow grease or sacrifice.
Now look at the getting back to somebody who
working injuries.
Now getting back to someone with credentials galore like Ken Thiessen.
Yep.
See how humble he is
very humble
in regards to how much free, valuable information he donates on social media. Hey, Mike P just joined us. Capital.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
So that's Mike Teed, right?
Yeah. P.
How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, he just joined us.
Good.
The man gives so much valuable free information. Even Paul Terrace Wolkowinski gives lots of valuable circular training information. But what Paul's got to do is he's got to give that Rosewater Kinetics a call and say, what's going on here? You're charging $400 for a pair of 6-pound clubs, and they're cracking. They're not properly seasoned. Every experienced wood turner and furniture maker knows that your wood has to be properly kiln dried and seasoned. That's how you prevent it from cracking. You don't sell defective merchandise if you're charging $400 for a pair of 6-pound clubs. You just don't do it. It's like if my sister's Honda was defective, brand new Honda Accord. It's the same thing, which it's not because it's a Honda, the car that sells itself. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's incredible. But I do appreciate the comment that the second gentleman made on the group.
He took the time and very respectful.
Yeah, and very informative.
Because it's respectable to the whole page, because it is called the Brotherhood of Palavans.
Yeah.
And we're really here to help each other.
Well, that's why I created Holistic Health Talk in 2012. Now it has over 8,000 members, because I wanted people to help one another. I didn't do it to make money. These are non-profit.
No, we make money at our jobs, and this is the thing.
Yeah.
If you're a former athlete or something, or you went to the Olympics, or you played in the NFL or the National Hockey League, okay, that is your job.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody's got a dream, and they go to these little weekend seminars, these Tony Robbins seminars or something like that, or Brian Tracy, or the guy who just died just 4 years ago, whatever, Wayne Dyer. You know, it's a lot of fluff.
And then they get a diploma.
You don't have the credentials. You don't have the leadership to actually.
Right. And then they get
motivate
and
people.
then they get a phony baloney certificate.
Programming. There's no after.
They get a phony baloney certification from On It, and right away they want to start doing their own seminars.
Teach, yeah. They want to quit their day job. It's like my father. You know, he lives in Florida, and my mom, and my father told me that I guess there's a lot of young people, you know, in their 20s, early 30s. They go down to Florida. You know, they don't like where they live, and maybe they're deadbeat dads. There's a lot of problems. There's a reason why they're in Florida. They had to escape something or other, bill collectors or whatever, up north. And so they go to Florida, and they're transients. They think they're going to make all this money because they've been on their vacation. They've been there for vacation with their parents.
Well, Southern California.
But again, false pretense. So they get down there and they get jobs at call centers, but they can't afford to pay their rent because their parents aren't footing the bill anymore. And so, again, this whole topic that we've been discussing, and I'm trying to be polite about it, it's just all under false pretenses.
Yeah. Well, all of those southern areas, Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, Las Vegas, Nevada, Florida.
Oh, Las Vegas is famous for a lot of transients that
the Carolinas. They
walk out in their spouses and this and that, and you know, it's just a lot of cowards. Now, sometimes if you're getting beat up, if you're a woman getting beat up by her husband, that's different.
There's a lot of
you call the cops, you call a lawyer.
Well, there's
a lot of scumbags who leave their families, leave their kids, and they go to Las Vegas, they go to Florida, they go to Arizona.
No, what I mean is there's a lot of transients from up north that are also escaping.
Grass always looks greener on the other side, but then they all get together with the scumbags in all these places, and that's how all this crime.
What I'm trying to say is there are also a lot of transients from up north escaping the high cost of living in the north, like in the Northeast. The cost of living is astronomically high, and maybe the rents are lower down there, and
the traffic's not too bad.
Yeah, well, Kent Easton told me.
to go into Manhattan every day.
Like my uncle Phil used to tell me, if you buy a house west of I-95 in Florida, the real estate, the rents and mortgages are a lot lower. Well, Ken says, guess what? It's not like that anymore. The greedy real estate industry are fucking people, even if you're west of I-95.
Yeah.
You know,
and another thing is, I want to expose something too.
Yeah.
When I was in Connecticut, coming back from New Jersey, I stopped off at a place that I like to eat. It's in Norwalk, Connecticut, but I'll just maintain some anonymity. But this fellow who owns this establishment would not report. His delivery van got in a little accident, and he wouldn't report it, so he just paid some money out of pocket, because he says that when he goes to sell this used delivery van, that Carfax will report it. Right. So I guess a lot of people nowadays, they lie. So again, this thing that was trying to have some integrity, this Carfax, again, people are lying for that because of money. It all comes down to money.
Well,
you have untapped potential.
Look at the fitness
world. The same people keep going to these $900, $700, $500, $999 seminars.
Yeah.
Because they're hero worshippers, and the sad thing is they really have made no improvement. Duncan Hines cake mix is good example of that, but I'll just
No, you know what? It has
you know what I'm
become
talking about.
the
It's just kind of funny.
modern day
It's pretty. I guess what it comes down to, if you don't really own a gym, I think if you own a gym, you can write off any taxes or whatever. It's good to go to these seminars, but if you're just an average Joe, but you keep going to these things instead of you don't compete or anything, you're really looking for friends because you're really lacking something in life, and it's an expensive workout.
well, listen, did the legendary strength training athletes of the past attend seminars and spend hundreds of dollars?
No,
No,
they
of course
trained
not.
every day. Now, to be a special forces soldier, right, or a Navy SEAL,
Yeah.
you train every day, whether you're sick, whether you're cold, whether you're hot, whether you're dirty, whether you're clean, whether it's at night, whether it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, you get out there and you train.
Yeah,
And like Daniel said, some days you can have better training days than others. Maybe you'll lighten up the load or whatever, but you'll still train, you'll still practice.
Yeah. Because combat doesn't care how you're feeling or
it doesn't care whether you're raining outside. It doesn't care what your nationality is, and
well, that's what
how short, how tall
well
you
that's
are.
what,
and anyway, that's a whole different topic.
I mean, yeah, that's what when I was taking Gracie style Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu by Jay Lally says, I don't care if it's raining out. I don't care if you have to fight in the rain. If you have to fight people in the rain, you got to suck it up and deal with it. That you have to adjust. Now, Mike Pede was saying that he's met a lot of sincere friends at the gym that were willing to help him and teach him technique. Now, that might be true. That might be true, but don't follow the advice of a juice head, because a juice head doesn't have to really work out hard because he's on the juice. He's going to get big anyway.
Well, he works out hard. It's just that they have great recovery because of those.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't train safe. They do presses behind neck. They do pull downs behind neck. They do upright rowing higher than chest level up to their chin, which all causes shoulder joint impingement and possible tendonitis and bursitis.
Well, I hope Mike surrounds himself with good guys and to train regularly, and that's what it's all about. And have fun, and push yourself within limits, and have a great long life.
Now, if you got a training partner at the gym that spots you and helps you do forced reps properly with a couple fingers, and spots you, that's wonderful, because this way you do a set, your spotter watches you. Then when your set is over and you're resting, he does a set. You spot him. Vice versa. Boom, boom, boom.
You know what the great thing about having a training partner is, though? It's the energy that you both feed off of.
Yeah.
That's everything. Whether you're studying together, whether maybe you're in law school, maybe you're graduate school, maybe you're doing Bible study together, maybe you whatever. Maybe your workout partners, maybe your running partners, and say, you know what? We only have supposed to do a 5-mile run today, but we both feel good. We say we do some hill work after, or we do some speed training, some I guess it's called fartlek training.
Yeah.
Interval training, and everything, and you feed off each other, whatever it is.
Now, Mike Pete has a question. Doesn't using a mace bad for your joints and tendons? Yes. If
it's too heavy. Good, excellent question, Mike. I only use a 15-pound mace because when I was trying to keep up, when my ego was trying to keep up with these other guys that were swinging 35-pound maces or 25-pound maces or 30-pound maces, geez, I'd be going to work, and every time I straightened out my arm, my elbows would crack. So then once I got back to a weight that my elbows could handle, my elbows that I inherited from my grandparents and my parents, There's no more cracking in my elbows. Excellent question, Mike. And I love swinging the mace, a moderate weighted mace, because it opens up the shoulder girdle. It rehabilitates the rotator cuffs. It's the greatest thing. And your grip, you get a little burn in your forearms. It's really nice. Excellent question, Mike. Thank you, sir.
Now, you know, Ken Thiessen originally told me, James, don't let your ego order the 35-pound mace. Start off with a 15-pound mace. I didn't listen to him, and guess what? I couldn't swing the damn thing if my life depended on it. You know what I mean? Kenny was right, because
Mike and James, when I swing a moderate weight mace, some days I go heavier, some days I go lighter, whatever. That's the beautiful thing about the Adex mace. I love the Adex mace and the Adex Arc. And I will plug that product because it's a very credible product. You learn different techniques. You learn the little nuances. When you're swinging something much too heavy, you're just grunting it out. That's not right. When you use a moderate weighted mace, Mike and James, it's like learning the piano. Yes, you have an instructor that teaches you piano, but when you practice by yourself, you discover things that are unique to you. And I'll give you an example. I know how to turn my wrists now, depending which side of the mace I'm going over. And it's only discovered when you swing moderate weighted mace for many reps. Like right now, there's a commercial. I'm watching the Patriots game. I got it on mute. But if I wasn't talking to you guys, Mike and James, right now, then I'd be swinging the mace during the commercials, or I'd be picking up my Persian meal. I have different weights of Persian meals, and it's really opened up my shoulders. I tell you, I'm the happiest guy in the world.
You rehabilitated
I feel like a kid again.
yourself. Now, Mike has another great question, and I can answer this. Let's see. The Iron Sheik used huge Persian clubs. Do you think he killed himself, or did he do it right? I've seen people use huge 50-pound maces. Now, these people, I worked for pro wrestling as a heel manager, and I did security for well over a decade. I worked with the Iron Sheik. I asked him the same questions, Mike P., that you're presenting now. The Iron Sheik says you start off small and light, and you gradually work your way up, just like with weights. He says his father, I think, ran a zirconium in Iran, and he grew up in the zirconium environment. Khosrow Vasiri, the Iron Sheik, grew up in that environment, just like a movie star has a second-generation actor's son. He grew up in the zirconium environment. So he, as a child, they start them off when they're children, young boys, with very small baby Persian meals, and he gradually worked his way up. It takes time. To build yourself up to a 50-pound mace. Now, Ken Thiessen, who was a WWE star for over 10 years, and he was Vince McMahon's personal trainer, and he was one of the Undertaker's druids, and as well as competitive bodybuilder and competitive grappler. Ken Thiessen, who's on our group, swings a 75-pound gada, and he weighs his gada and shows you a close-up of the scale to prove what he's swinging, because a lot of people make claims. Oh, I lift this, I bench that, I swing this, I swing that. You know,
all the heroes.
Right.
Yeah.
They brag. Ken weighs it. He zooms in on the weight. Now, Ken has been training since he was a teenager. Okay, strength training. It takes time to work up to that. Scott Sonnen, even though I don't agree with a lot of things, I don't agree with his attitude and approach. Scott Sonnen says a 15-pound club is equivalent in force to a 75-pound dumbbell or a 55-pound kettlebell because of torque. Now, a mace obviously has greater torque than a club because most of the weight is on the end and the handle is very long, usually a meter, sometimes longer. Okay, so what you're talking about, a 50-pound mace, that takes a hell of a long time to work up to. I mean,
but I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead. I'm done.
But I want to make a comment about the Iron Sheik. I believe, I don't know the Iron Sheik personally like you do, but I believe that elite, like real elite, like true elite athletes, and I humbly say that, like the Iron Sheik, like Ken Thiessen and other people, I believe that when they train behind closed doors in their own gym, they probably train moderately, and then as the workout progresses and everything's getting loosened up, and they get the synovial fluid in their joints, you go up. But I believe that there's a lot of egoists that the Iron Sheik probably wanted to humble, and I think that's why that day he brought out those very heavy meals. And that, who was the fellow that couldn't do it? It wasn't Ric Flair, was it?
No, it was when Freddie Blassie was laughing his head off in the background. Yeah. I don't know if it was Paul Figueroa or one. He was.
Anyways, I think Iron Sheik just wanted to say, hey, let's see if you can do this.
He was a jobber.
I think it's such a hot shot. But I think that maybe the Iron Sheik, I think he lifts moderate. Because really, what are Persian meals used for? I hope this answer is true, but isn't it for rehab? Because I'm sure the Iron Sheik lifts a lot of heavy weights. He gets his body slammed around. He's getting thrown all over the place, and he's throwing other people. I think that the Iron Sheik, like I said, behind closed doors in his own gym, uses moderate meals and moderate Indian clubs and moderate maces or gadas. To loosen everything up, to rehabilitate, to get the blood in there.
Well,
that's what I believe. Anyway,
the Pahlivans that ran Zirconase in Los Angeles, California's Iranian community, which is the largest Iranian community, second to Iran itself. These Pahlivans told Richard Army McGuire, another legend in martial arts and stick fighting and circular training.
Somebody with credentials,
right?
That's not charging $999.
Another guy, another man with enormous credentials. They told him, "Do not swing heavy. That is one of the most important bits of advice we can give you. Do not swing heavy." The people that swing heavy are the ones that train for international Pahlivani competition, which is not done in the United States. It's done in other countries, and they all have their own Zirconate Pahlivani federations, most of these other countries. And they work up to swinging those huge Persian meals, just like they do in India. They have gigantic joris that look like telephone poles. They only do that like maybe once or twice a year. This is an annual competition. It's like powerlifting. They don't do this daily.
I was telling James today, when I came home, right before I had lunch, I had a nice workout. I usually work out 2 or 3 times a day, but anyways, my first workout was I started my circular torque training, Persian meals, Indian clubs, and mace. And and then I went downstairs. I got my own private gym in my house. I invested a lot of money over the years, like over a decade, piece by piece. But anyways, so I did deadlift training and I did bench press training, but I do it in a circuit, and I have lat pull downs, I have dumbbells, and everything else. So I do it nonstop, and I do kettlebell swings, whatnot. Anyways, so I was doing sets of bench press and deadlifts in the same circuit. I think I did probably 10 sets of each, of 10 rep sets, 15 rep sets, to improve my technique. I'm 53. I've been doing this since actually competing since 1989, a long time. I started lifting weights when I was about 15 years old. Anyways, just to practice it. I had a great pump. My joints feel great. Then I came back up, and I did like multiple times a day, like let's say 10 times a day, whatever, 8 to 10 times a day. I just pick up a Persian meal, and I do sets of 15 reps, 20 reps, each arm, to get that synovial fluid, to get all the scar tissue and the rotator cuffs out of there. It's just great maintenance. It's a lifestyle, and it's a beautiful thing that needs to be embraced. And it's only when you really sit down and you listen to your body and get rid of that ego. And I was telling James today, I explained, like, well, James, I was doing 10 rep sets. I was doing 15 rep sets with bench and deadlift. Oh, a lot of people say, how dare you do that? No, I'm only as strong as I'm going to get. And when I have a competition, I know how to peak, going 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out. I know what to do. But I work out every other day. It doesn't matter which day of the calendar it is. It's every other day. I do all 3 lifts. I squat, bench, and deadlift. I train 2-3 times a day. Every other day. And, that's overtraining. No, it isn't. If you're a soldier, and I was in the U.S. Army before, back in the 1980s, you train, you just can't tell your drill sergeant, well, I'm not going to do hundreds of push-ups today because I did them yesterday. No, you train, but you train smart. And if you're a farmer without the machinery, or if you're any type of hard worker, or if you're climbing mountains, Mount Everest, you got to go up that mountain. And that's what you do. You just do it, and your body acclimates. The worst thing you can do is sit down in a chair and be on the computer all day. Being a keyboard tough guy. No, get out there and move and enjoy the movement. But don't lift 400-pound squats every day or every other day. That's going to kill you. And then you get hip surgery, hip replacement surgery. You get shoulder replacement surgery from benching too heavy or doing military presses or doing kettlebells that weigh too much. Moderate. I can't stress this enough. Everybody has different grandparents. Everybody has different parents than one another, right?
The genetics,
so
yeah.
Work with what you got. Work with what you got, and love training.
Well, I just wanna remind Mike, Pete, and all of our viewers, present and future,
enjoy this life.
That Indian clubs, Persian meals, the mace or gada, these are all conditioning tools. These are all-round conditioning tools. They're not. It is not like somebody. You know what annoys a lot of people. Even Scooby, the guy that's on YouTube. Guy's over 60 years old. He looks phenomenal. He's muscle phenomenal. He says he hates it when people say immediately, "How much you bench? How much you curl?" Yep. He says, "I don't give a rat's ass how much I bench or curl. That's not
exactly.
That's not his objective."
I like to go running, but I'll tell you, most people on this earth could probably kick my butt in the 100-yard dash. But I love doing 100-yard dashes because that makes me feel good.
Well,
I'm going to keep running 100-yard dashes or 440 meters, 400 meters, which is a quarter of a mile, because I like to.
Well, look when you hike in the.
I love going hiking in the mountains. I live up in Canada, so I do a lot of hiking. We have a lot of trails up here, and I love going out there because I can think. And I love looking at the trees, and I like climbing up rocky hills and going down hills, especially if it's rained and it's a little muddy. But I like that. I like the smell of nature.
Oh, there's nothing.
I love the smell of the leaves. I love the smell of grass. I love the smell of the trees.
The wood, yeah, the wood. I love.
I don't like getting mosquito bitten, but that's okay.
Okay, now Mike has another important question before we close out the show, and it has to do with nutritional supplementation. I'm going to tell Mike what I do, and then you tell Mike about your food, your combination. Okay, I emphasize the antioxidants. I take 400 international units of natural vitamin E, which is D-alpha tocopherol in a base of mixed tocopherols. I take, I'd say about 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C with equal amounts of bioflavonoids. I take a great multivitamin made by Nature's Way for men over 50 and over. In Nature's Way, it's called Alive. The name of the multi is called Alive. They make it for younger men too and women. They have a male and female formula. I take, sometimes I'll take like a mega strength cod liver oil with high amounts of vitamin A and D because that's extremely important for the immune system. And, I do drink dark red wine for antioxidant effects. I have a medicinal herbal tea concoction that I slap together using stinging nettles, sage, peppermint, matcha green tea from Japan, the aronia berry, which is the chokeberry. Native Americans use it. It's very high in ORAC, which is the way Tufts University made it popular. It's the way you measure the antioxidant power or ability of foods. And that's pretty much what I do. Sometimes I'll do clove, which is the most powerful antioxidant known to man. A teaspoon of cloves in your tea, you boil it down. Nothing comes close to the cloves. I have oil of wild oregano in case I get sick, which the Purdue chicken farmers are giving their chickens instead of antibiotics. The strongest natural antibiotic known, oil of wild oregano. So that's basically my formula. Now, Jeff Zambello, who is going to be down in my area for another physical fitness event in early December. Tell him about your concoction.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. We all live in different places, and if I live where James lived, he has this wonderful owner-managed buffet that's clean. I don't like buffets usually because they're kind of germy, but this one's much different. And all of the food is made by scratch by the owner. It's very nutritious. He's just got fresh fish, everything, vegetables, meats, whatever. As if I lived in James's area, I'd be eating that several times a week. I live in Eastern Canada. We don't have that kind of stuff. It's all junk food and stuff up here. So anyway, I just eat regular. I would get into this big, this big campaign and get all detailed like I did years ago. But what I learned is some of the strongest people I know, some of the healthiest people I know, some people that I know that local people that lived in the 80s and 90s, they just live good lives. They try to be happy, and like the farmers or whatever, and they cook their own meals. Like the family cooks their own meals and
low stress.
Not fancy. They drink whole milk. But this, like what James is saying, like I go to the bulk barn. It's I don't know what you have down there, maybe Trader Joe's or something. But it's like you scoop out a bunch of oats. They have Scotch oats. We have red bran, wheat germ, let me see, raw pumpkin seeds. Everything's unsalted. I get cashews, walnuts, almonds, all the nuts.
Quinoa.
Crushed peanuts. And then on the other side of the store, I scoop in a bunch of hemp seed and a bunch of the chia seeds, and it's all organic. And
sunflower seeds.
And then whey protein, pure, unsugared, unflavored. It's got 87%, protein. It's almost pure, and it's just and that I eat that. I eat it all raw. I mix it all together with a bunch of the blueberries and cherries and raisins like from Africa or whatever. And that's it. Just basic. Like what does a racehorse eat? Like they don't eat junk. They don't eat burritos through a drive-through. But wolves they eat, and grizzly bears they eat like salmon. They eat other animals. Just basic. Enjoy your life. You don't need to go on these diets. You are what you are, and appreciate what you are.
Well, organic food.
Whether short, tall, or whatever, just appreciate the body you were given and make the best of it, and surround yourself with good people. They're gonna lift you up and lift up other people.
Well,
that's it. Simple life.
Non-genetically modified organic foods, wholesome foods. You got.
I'll tell you something. I'm stronger than I ever been. I can lift more weight in my younger years, but I wasn't as healthy with my joints, and I have no fatigue now. Just got a different attitude in life. It's simplified. I try to stay away from negativity. I know it sounds like James and I are being somewhat negative when we talk about these carnival snake oil hucksters, infomercial pitchmen with these seminars. I don't call them seminars, I call them seminars because they're jerking everybody off. Anyways, that's really the only negativity that we do have, because it is a big mockery.
Well, Mike wants it. Before we close out, Mike wants to know about your next event down here in New Jersey.
Oh, it's the Vintage Strength Games. It's a 5-minute mace competition, and the weights go 15, 20, 25. I'll just do the 15. But I'll end up doing 100 over 100 reps, which is about 200. They call it 200 hands, which means when you go to the left and the right side, that counts as one rep. So it's great. And then my powerlifting, I'll start competing again in the spring, and then in the summertime I have to go to Canadian Nationals, qualify. And I'm also a U.S. citizen, so I can go down to the U.S. and compete in U.S. Nationals.
Because he's originally from Boston. Now
originally from Boston.
You have. Are you going to do kettlebell?
And then I'll go to Idaho Falls in September for Worlds, for drug-free Worlds.
Are you going to do kettlebell? Are you going to do?
That's it. Good people out there, and
the event's going to be in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Now, are you going to do kettlebell there?
No, I was, but my shoulders don't like the kettlebell. So why do something for my ego that's going to hurt me? It's only because I've done powerlifting for so long and I've rehabilitated my shoulders. That ballistic movement over my head my shoulders don't like it. A lot of people who probably didn't do what I've done in life don't have the wear and tear on the shoulders. As a competitive bodybuilder once told me not too long ago, he says that we have only so many sets of bench presses in us, only so many sets of military presses, et cetera, whether we like it or not. And I'm a workout addict. So I do what is going to help my body, not to destroy it or degenerate it. So,
So what you're saying is when you swing, when you do the 10 to 2 o'clock with the mace, you do not feel any shoulder joint discomfort or pain.
none at all, because I use a moderate weight.
Okay, as opposed to when you do as
So I'll always be able to compete. And some people who have egos or they have to promote their business,
Right.
and this is not a slight against them. I'm just saying they have chosen not to compete anymore. And they can correct me if I'm wrong, and I hope they do correct me, but I'll just go on a limb and I'll answer their own question as to why they don't compete. It's not because they're afraid of losing, because big deal if you lose. The important thing is you got in the platform in front of a whole bunch of people, and you train for it. But I think these people, some people lift maces that are much too heavy for them. The ego gets in the way. They think it's going to promote their business, and they don't want to go down in weight, even though their age is going up, and the wear and tear on their elbow joints, like a couple of million reps, that does tend to wear you out if you're using heavy weights.
Now, what causes the pain during kettlebell?
The inflammation. You have inflammation, and the inflammation gets worse, and then the calcium, you get calcium deposits, you get bone chips, and everything else. And no amount of ukduk, it's the stuff made by Dale Dugas or whatever, down in Florida. He's actually a kung fu master. God bless his heart. No amount of ukduk is going to help you, or copper sleeves. It's a Band-Aid. But you're still ripping off the tab.
Brett Favre advertises the copper braces. So what you're saying, Jeff Zambello, is the pain from competition kettlebell comes from the ballistic overhead movement, correct?
Yeah, it's a lot more tactical than that. But I'll just say that in any activity, whether it's doing a tennis serve, I like to play tennis, but I don't like to do tennis serves over my head.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. It's not good for my shoulders.
Well, if an experienced athlete like yourself, if you're getting sharp pain from ballistic overhead swinging, then that means that anyone could eventually have the same problem with that.
Maybe, but again, like my grandparents are different than your grandparents. Like I'm very good at pulling. Like I could deadlift a lot of weight. My bench press is my worst lift. I do bench pressing only because I have to do it, but I really hate it. But I love squatting. I love deadlifting. But I think my ancestors, maybe they helped to build the pyramids. Maybe they pulled those big rocks up years and years, like centuries ago.
Well, overhead pressing is not good for.
And maybe other people have grandparents, like their great grandfathers, lifted up timber to make Viking ships.
Well, overhead pressing is not good for my shoulders either. Overhead presses.
Again, that just comes back to our lineage.
Now, you know what you might enjoy much better than bench pressing with an Olympic bar is to do dumbbell bench pressing.
Oh, I do. And I do unilateral dumbbell bench press. Like I'll do 20 reps with my left arm.
Because
then the same set, I'll do 20 reps with my right arm.
Because when you dumbbell bench press, you are supinating and pronating your wrists.
Yep. The way that you, and by doing that with your wrist, it's moving along the track of your shoulders. So yes, I know all that stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what
I do unilateral leg training. I do Bulgarian squats, and I don't do pistols. I found out the pistols can be very bad for certain people, no matter how light or heavy you are. Again, it depends on your grandparents. Don't do stuff that's going to hurt you.
Because I noticed,
hurt you, don't do it.
I noticed a barbell bench press will give me sharp pain in my shoulder, where a dumbbell bench press will not give me that.
Well,
pain.
I don't get pain from a barbell anymore because I have very narrow grip now. I do it shoulder width, and like decades ago, people say, "Oh, that's only for your triceps." No, no, no. You could use your lats and your pecs and your triceps without using your shoulders.
No, shoulder width grip is fine. That's not a.
Keep your elbows in.
Yeah, that's not
Keep
a.
your elbows brushed up against your rib cage.
Yeah, that's not the close grip tricep press that people are thinking of. A shoulder width grip is a moderate grip. That is that is the standard grip for a barbell bench press.
Yeah.
Is the shoulder. Same thing with military presses in front of your...
Yep, I use that same grip. I use shoulder width.
Yeah.
I don't go wide grip on anything. It just opens up your rotator cuffs and you're asking for trouble.
In front of your head, not behind your neck. Military presses in front of your head.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's not just me and you. We're trying to smarten up the young people out there that might be watching. That's all.
Yep.
But
anyway, that was a good show. Like I said, just keep life simple. And if something's hurting you, whether it's doing tennis serves or throwing baseballs overhand, like I like playing softball and I like to pitch underhand. That feels great. I like doing the breaststroke when I swim or the backstroke. My shoulders like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. If something, listen, your body will give you the signals, whether it be negative or positive.
But my favorite thing in all of life is walking.
Listen to your body.
I like speed walking. That to me is the most meditative activity you could do. It feeds your brain.
Well, you won't get shin splints from speed walking like you would do jogging. Let's put it that way. Like you won't get injuries from speed walking like a person who runs or jogs.
Anyway, just know who you are and some people can paint pictures, some people write books. Some people write music.
The only thing you need with speed walking.
Everybody's different.
The only thing you need with speed walking in the wilderness is one of those cold steel polypropylene sticks, canes, so in case a wild animal.
Yeah, I got a couple of billy clubs that I carry with me because some people don't leash their dogs. If you're way out in the power line, and like miles away from a street, you can't really call the cops. I don't carry them to threaten people. I just carry them because in case I get attacked, at least.
Well, my brother-in-law on a deer hunting trip was confronted by a large snarling coyote that tried to attack him, and he just took his rifle and shot his ass.
Oh yeah.
And the skin is hanging up on his office wall right now with the head on it. There's a big coyote who actually went for him, and that's why I'm saying, the flora and the fauna is beautiful.
It's self-defense, like anything else.
Well, let me ring the world's largest jingle bell because tits the season. Tits. All right. Thank you very much, Jeff Zambello, and everyone who's watching.
God bless everybody. Keep life simple and do what you love and do it all the time. Do it every day. And that's all I got to say. Keep life simple. Just eat good food. Just don't go crazy. All these stupid diets that make people rich.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, keep the money in your pocket.
Keep the money in your pocket and don't fall for...
And help other people and lift up other people's spirits. That's what life's all about too.
Well,
when you give to other people, believe me, you get the gift. You get the happiness.
Yeah. Well, that's how the martial arts people are. That's their mentality. How they're taught. How they're trained.
All right, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.